Hello.
Live.
Yay.
Hello.
Hi, and welcome to our City of Fallen Angels live show. Thank you so much to everyone for watching and for reading with us this month. I'm Bianca, and this is my co-host, Laia.
Hello. Hope you're all doing good. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for all the support and participation on our social media during the month. And just a reminder that this book club is a safe space and we expect everyone to be kind and respectful, and everyone is welcome. So, hope you enjoy, and we look forward to discussing this book with you and with each other.
Thank you. Did you have a lot of general thoughts about the book this
I
month?
have like 5 points, so I have less than usual.
Oh, okay. Did you want to go first? I can't.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so normally I had like a lot, but this time I have less. I don't know why. I'll start off with saying that I thought the book was very slow paced. I don't know if you felt that, but the book was very slow paced in my opinion. Like everything happened very slowly. Just like an observation. Like I don't know what you think.
I also thought so, like the beginning especially, but the end, I think like the last 2 or 3 chapters go really quickly compared to the rest of the book. And I think the like pace of it was the reason why in the past I got bored and wanted to stop reading the books because I didn't really see the point of it, and she doesn't really make it clear what the point is because we felt like it was resolved, and now we're like not really knowing where we're heading with things. So yeah.
Hmm. I guess that's true. Yeah, like compared to the other books, it's a lot more like chilled, is a good word to actually put it. Like everything just happened slowly. Anyway,
Mm.
and also another thing I said is that I loved seeing Jace and Clary together finally, especially in the beginning in like that training room scene. It just made me happy to like
Yeah.
finally see them together and like happy and stuff.
While it lasted, yes, it was
While it
nice.
lasted, I know we get like a little glimpse and then everything just goes south again, but still that little part, I was like so happy for them. And we find out that it's
Yeah.
been like 6 weeks, but still 6 weeks is not very long, but I mean at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was quite disappointed about how rude Katerina was to Clary the first time she met Clary, like in the hospital scene when they went to look at that baby. Katerina was so rude, and I was like surprised and disappointed. I didn't expect it because I've always liked Katerina, and she's like one of my favorite characters. Like I really like her as a character, and then to be introduced to her, and the first time we see her, she be that rude. I was just quite taken aback. I didn't expect it.
Oh, okay. I didn't really make note of her all that much. I was just like happy when she showed up, really. I think that was like my mindset. I didn't really mind their interaction too much, and like I feel like Clary, I'm just trying to think now what exactly happened in that scene.
It's like when they went into the hospital, but Katerina was extremely rude to Larry.
She was like, "Why are you here?" That kind of thing. Like she didn't ask
Yeah,
her to come. Is that what you mean?
kind of. I don't know, just the words she said and like the way she spoke to Clary was just very rude. I can't remember exactly, but I just remember being like, wow, I didn't expect her to be like that rude. Because she's actually a nice character, and now the first time we get introduced to her was not in a nice way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. I didn't really make note of it, so
Yeah.
yeah. It
Oh,
was
we
like
make
cool
note
that
of
she was
different
there.
things.
Yeah, yeah. It is like our brains work quite differently. We notice like totally different stuff. Yeah, I think always when she pops up, I'm always just like, she's the blue person. Yes, cool.
Also another thing in my head, I don't know, it's because of her picture, but in my head she's light blue. Like I've always just thought of her as having light blue skin, and is it Ragnarfell, I think, has dark blue skin, and Katarina, oh no, is Ragnarfell green? Oh, Max the baby has dark blue skin, and Katarina has always
Yeah.
had light blue skin. And then in this book they introduced her, and my brain is like explained her, but that's not the word. They what am I looking for? Described, there's the word. They described her as being dark blue with white hair, and I was like, huh? Because I'm pretty sure she's light blue, but who knows?
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I didn't pick up on that much either. And I don't have your cool book with all of the pictures, so I don't really look at them all that much.
Oh, if I had it close to me, I would look for her, but yeah, I'm pretty sure she's light blue. Anyway, and then I really enjoy Maya and Jordan's story. I'm so glad Jordan was in the book, and when Jordan like appeared, I was like, yay, finally, because I really like their story.
I like them too, and I liked how he was introduced, and like how Clara was like, yeah, you guys need a non-nerdy guy in your band because you guys kind of suck. So it was kind of funny part of the plot. Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I don't know if I made the connection when I read it before that that's who that person was, and if I was shocked or anything, but this time I was like, obviously we know who he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I
But
just
yeah,
like
he's
him, and
just like a cool person.
I like him as a character too, and I like how he's like such a puppy dog about Maya, you know. And he's like so careful
Yeah,
around her all the time, and always like, oh, how am I reacting around her, you know. I think it's so cute.
I
Yeah,
also
and
think they're
then
pretty cute. And like it's good
yeah,
that he realizes that he messed up and stuff. So
then I just have one more point. Oh, just a thought that Jace can't catch a break. Like Jace just cannot catch a break. It's just constantly something. Oh, so I just kind of feel sorry for him, like, because finally he's like trying to accept who he is, and now all this happens.
yeah, yeah. I did mention that somewhere as well, but I also feel really bad for Jace. It's yeah, pretty much. And then just when you think he's doing okay, something else happens and you're like,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. And now this stupid mark on him.
Yeah. It's not a good time.
No. Okay, well that was all I had.
Okay. Some of my general thoughts were that I guess were like quite general. I don't think I got as specific as you did. I think that the books get better every time you reread them. So I really felt that this time reading this book again because in the past I remembered getting like really irritated with this and hating reading from Simon's perspective. But this time I like really, really enjoyed like getting to know him a bit again because we kind of know where his journey goes. So like seeing him as a vampire when we didn't really see much from his perspective before, he was kind of just a really like side character and we just saw his reaction to things. So getting into his head a bit was like nice. And yeah, I liked this book a lot more this time than I've ever liked it before, pretty sure.
Interesting.
I don't know if you felt the same.
I don't think so, because I don't remember it being that slow paced, and the fact that it was slow paced, sometimes I liked it and sometimes I didn't. Let's just say that.
Okay.
You know, it like borders on being boring and being exciting, and I can't decide where it falls, you know. But I like
That's
everything
fair.
that happens, and I also like that. And it's so confusing because I do think it's slow paced, but then part of me likes that it was that way. It's very confusing. Like, I don't know what to think, because all the others weren't like that, you know, and this time everything is like explored in a lot of detail and stuff. So
Mm. I felt like Cassie she's finding her style a lot more, and like the later books are obviously more like this one. And I also said that this book felt more like what I remembered the books being like, because I know the beginning books, I thought they had more detail and stuff when they didn't, whereas this one does, and it's more like her writing style that we know today, I guess. And
maybe
like it's a lot more intricate, and she'll go into depth more.
maybe that's why the pacing was so drastically different.
Yeah.
Like noticeably different. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't a bad thing, you know.
No. Yeah, it just depends like what you want from the book, because like I remember when I read it the first time, I got annoyed with the pacing because I really didn't care that much about the people. But this time I do care. Is it my internet that's being bad?
I don't know.
I
I
hope
think so.
not.
Like,
Anyway, sorry about that. Oh, and I also thought like the perspectives flowed. Ooh, what's happening?
you're
Is it
fine. I
back?
can hear you. No, you're
Is it
good.
working? Stress. Okay.
Okay, now you're frozen. Okay.
And I liked how all of the perspectives went together really well.
They did. I
Okay.
really liked reading from like everyone's perspective, basically.
Yeah. Although I did note that it was a lot of like the boys' perspectives. Like we didn't get much from Isabel or Maya. It was either Clary or the boys most of the time.
Okay. I don't think I paid
Yeah.
attention to that.
And then it definitely got a lot steamier in this book. Some of the scenes were a lot more intense, which was cool, fun, I guess. And I feel like it showed that the author was being a lot more confident with being able to write scenes like that, and she did quite well. I also just wish that would talk to each other a lot more, because I feel like a lot of the problems that they had to do with them not really talking to each other. And I generally don't like that as a plot device. But having said that, it didn't bother me too much because I did enjoy reading the book. So
I
don't know
also
how you felt
noticed
about
that.
that.
Yeah, I also noticed that there was a lot of not miscommunication, but lack of communication. Like none of the characters told each other what was going on in their lives. They were all kind of dealing with their own situations in their own lives, and no one like told anyone about what was happening. And then eventually they'd fill each other in, and then, you know.
Yeah, and then they'd be able to connect the dots, and they're like, "Why didn't you tell me this before?" And we're like, "Don't you guys have cell phones? Please, just use the head."
Yeah.
much. And I did like that they added a few of the like Magnus and Alec things throughout, like just mentioning them every now and then, and just so that we wouldn't forget about them. And then when they finally showed up, I don't really know how I felt about that whole like interaction of Alec getting all like pouty and stuff. It kind of annoyed me. It's slightly understandable though that he would be upset.
A little bit, but like
that Magnus
he should
was
have
with
known.
a lot of...
But he should have known.
Yeah.
Magnus is like hundreds of years old. Like, what does he expect? You know.
Exactly. And he
So it was a bit
was
annoying.
being like a teenager. Like it was, yeah.
Yes, very much.
Just
And he's like supposedly he's like the oldest one in the group.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was nice having them show up. And then Magnus interacting with Camille as well was cool to see. And this is why, you know, the publication order is our thing and why we read it like that, because otherwise
but we're gonna talk
a lot
about
of those conversations and interactions wouldn't make sense. So
yes, but we're gonna talk about all that.
Publication order.
We're gonna talk about all the reasons we read in publication order a bit later.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the last thing that I just said was that she's really fleshed the world out a lot more and added a bunch of things like the Praetor, and I guess Lilith as well. And I was wondering when she showed up. Like, she showed up quite late in this book, so I was getting stressed that she wasn't going to show up. But yeah, I think it like set it up nicely for the last few books in the Mortal Instruments.
That's true. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I don't know what I like think of Lilith showing up. Like, I was like, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I like that whole story. Yeah. I don't know if I like
definitely
that
interesting.
whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know, it annoys me. I think especially in the next book, a lot of the stuff that happens, I'm like, why are you doing this? You're just like torturing people. So I'm interested to see when are we reading it? July? How it'll go down in July. Lilo, don't do that.
Definitely.
Okay, do you want to share your favorite part?
Yeah. So my favorite part is when Isabel kind of like admits to herself and realizes how she feels about Simon, because she had that whole moment of saying why she doesn't fall for guys and why she doesn't stick to relationships. And then when she realized how she felt about Simon, I don't know, that was just my favorite part. I'd like really like that finally she was like, okay, like maybe I should take this seriously.
Oh, that is a really cute part. I like that as well. And my favorite part wasn't like a specific part really, but I just noticed a lot more of like the references and foreshadowing, and I think even more than I did before. So, and then I wrote down every single part, and even parts where I was like, this seems really random that you would say this, and I don't necessarily know what it's about, but I made a note of it. Like the I think it said that Camille had like a ring, and I couldn't remember where that was from, or if it was like from Magnus or where the ring came from. Maybe it was from her like werewolf, but I feel like it was important just because it was described as like a specific color. I don't know. And then also when Jace is in the cell with like the Silent Brothers. He's in the cell and he noticed like a carving in the wall, and the initials were JG, and I feel like that's gonna pop up in one of the other books, and like we'll see where it comes from, because I don't remember it being in Clockwork Angel. So
That's true. I can't think of anyone who has the initials JG.
I think I know who it might be, because they don't have the initials now, but something happens. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. But yeah, that was like my favorite part. And I was like feeling like a detective, being like, I see you. I see what you're doing.
Is it Jessamine? Jessamine Gray? Because she takes Nathaniel's surname.
Yes,
Okay,
I think so.
yes. Maybe. Also, just on the topic of the ring you were talking about.
Yeah.
You like keep freezing.
Yeah, you also keep freezing. I don't know what internet it is, because my like internet says I'm like on 4 bars, but in the live it's like really low.
My internet's fine, so
Maybe it's the
anyway.
app.
Maybe. Anyway.
It's really
So that ring. This is like a bit off topic, but it's just something I remembered. In what was the newest book that was released? Chain of Iron. Remember there was someone that like tricked them who also had a specific ring on the whole time? It was a warlock that like tricked them, and then when they looked back there was like a ring all the time. Like I don't know if that's related, but that just reminded me of that.
could be. Let me just open the door for Lilo. She's crying. I'll be back.
Okay.
Dog mom life. Never get any rest. Go on. You wanna go out there with them? Come. Apologies. She was really annoying me.
Okay.
Okay, cool. What about your least favorite part? What did you not like?
Okay, so my least favorite part is a quote that I'm going to read from my phone, and I've always had so much faith in Cassie Clare, but until I read this quote, I was very disappointed. Very disappointed. Okay, so I don't know if you like know what I'm going to say, but so the quote is from when Jace and Clary are training in the park, in Central Park.
Okay.
And they're talking about Jace being Clary's instructor, instructor. Are you with me? Are you frozen? I'm so confused.
Yes, I'm there. I'm listening. I don't know which
Okay.
quote you're specifically about, but
Okay,
you
no,
can continue.
okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna read like the whole section. So Jace says, so this is Jay speaking. Yes, he said, getting up and pulling her to her feet along with him. And I'm worried that if you get into the habit of making out with your instructors, you'll wind up making out with him too. Then Clary says, don't be sexist. They could find me a female instructor. Then Jace replies, in that case, you have my permission to make out with her as long as I can watch. Cassie Clare, you disappointed me. I cannot even explain to you how much is wrong with that sentence. but there's so much wrong
Yeah.
with it. It's like not
Yes.
okay. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole thing about fetishization and no.
Yeah. I agree. My least favorite parts was the first one was that I hated that Jace was constantly being tortured all the time, and like how toxic his mindset is about like himself in general. And then also I said that there's a few random like moments when the boys were like kind of really rude or sexist or something. It wasn't just that one. There was also something where they were like kind of no homo, that kind of vibe, and I was just like so
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
So
So and
yeah,
then
I didn't pick up
I
on
don't
those.
know. She did such a good job until now.
Yes, I know, right? Um. Oh well, I think it's like also at the time people said stuff like that a lot. Like there was like a phase I remember in high school distinctly where people would like go and say stuff like that, like specifically like about like the girl kissing and also like, but I'm not gay kind of, you know, I don't know why people did that, but it was a distinct point in time where it was said often for no apparent reason.
Yeah. And society has grown so much from
Yes.
them, and they've educated
Yes.
themselves, and yeah.
Oh well. Okay. I'm glad that we both had like similar ones there because I couldn't think of anything else that I didn't really
Oh no, as
like.
soon as I read that, and that was like in the beginning of the book, as soon as I read that, I was like, no, that's my least favorite part. I was so disappointed.
Cool. Okay, and I don't think we had Goodreads comments this time.
Nope.
I haven't been on the group. I've been really busy this month, so I honestly haven't
No,
checked.
I checked, but we didn't have any.
That's sad. Oh well. Okay. Go through all questions.
Questions. I like the two little hearts.
Thought it was cute.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one was let's talk parallels between Clockwork Angel and City of Fallen Angels.
I
Do
would
you
love
want
to
to
go
start?
first. Yes. Because I have so many. Okay, so the first one is that we immediately in like chapter 1, or is it the prologue, but like immediately we see subjugates, and subjugates were introduced and explained and fleshed out in Clockwork Angel, and now we see them immediately, like not that much explained, just a little bit, but we immediately see them after we've already been introduced to the concept and the fact that vampires in the I don't want to say olden days, but like in the olden days, that was pretty normal for them to have, and a lot of vampires have that. And now, since the law changed, vampires aren't allowed to have subjugates anymore. But Camille, hers were like 200 years old, so she had them. And then, if we didn't read Clockwork Angel, we wouldn't have known everything we know about subjugates.
Yeah, that was one that I was like, I picked up on it and I was like, yes, it makes sense now why they're there. And Simon was being really dumb in that interaction as well, which was really annoying me. And I was just like, dude, stop.
Okay, and then the next one is that we meet Camille also immediately in chapter 1 after meeting her in Clockwork Angel, because we met her for the first time in Clockwork Angel. We got to know her. She was a big part of the plot in Clockwork Angel, and now she's one of the first characters that show up in City of Fallen Angels, and we know who she is. And she's not just a random vampire.
Yes. Yeah. It definitely makes a lot more sense after having read Clockwork Angel, like how she fits into everything. So even when Magnus is like, "Oh yeah, I used to date her," we already know that, and we've like seen them interact. Whereas if you didn't know that, it would have been kind of random and been like, "Oh, okay, so that's why she's there because she dated Magnus." Whereas no, she's there because she's interacted with the Shadowhunters before, and she is like a player in the world.
And I'm going to skip a point here now because you spoke about Magnus. So I'll bring up my point with Magnus. Yeah, I also just said that you saw Magnus and Camille's relationship. You see their history. And now Camille only wants to talk to Magnus and nobody else. So you know, like, their history.
Yeah.
And then the Sanctuary is introduced and explained in Clockwork Angel. We don't see a sanctuary before that, and a sanctuary is like thoroughly explained, and its use and everything is explained in Clockwork Angel. And now, for the first time in the Mortal Instruments series, we see a sanctuary for the first time. And because of Clockwork Angel, we already know what a sanctuary is and what it's used for. And they do say the sanctuary is not used as much anymore in Mortal Instruments because they have what are those things called, where the projections. And but this is also something I noticed the last time I read the series, is that we get to know like what a sanctuary is, and then now a sanctuary is introduced for the first time, so we already know what a sanctuary is. Otherwise we wouldn't have known because it wasn't part of the like previous books.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have another point that I missed. I just said that Clary didn't have to cut ties with Jocelyn for starting her training, like Will had to cut ties with his parents, because normally if your parents leave the clave, you have to completely cut ties with them if you want to train like a shadow hunter, but Clary didn't have to. Oh, and we saw that in Will, how Will had to cut ties with his parents, but Clary didn't have to cut ties with Jocelyn to start training. And they mention that the law has changed, and they're busy like rethinking that and whatever, and then we see how that actually was a reality and how now things have changed.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool part as well. Like showing how they're evolving as a Shadowhunter society, I guess.
Okay, then I have two quotes left to read, and they are both like parallels quotes. So the first one, wait, they're actually both with Camille and Magnus. And I just really like them because if you didn't read Clockwork Angel, you would have no idea what was going on in this piece. So Camille, Magnus said, "It's been a long time, hasn't it?" She smiled. Her skin looked whiter than he recalled, and dark spidery veins were beginning to show beneath its surface. Her hair was still the color of spun silver, and her eyes were still as green as a cat's. She was still beautiful. Looking at her, he was in London again. He saw the gaslight and smelled the smoke and dirt and horses, the metallic tang of fog, the flowers in Kew Gardens. He saw a boy with black hair and blue eyes like Alex, heard violin music like silver water, saw a girl with long brown curls and a serious face. In a world where everything went away from him eventually, she was one of the few remaining constants. And then there was Camille.
Yes. I took a picture of that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, the boy with black hair and blue eyes was Will. Violin music was Gems. Girl with long brown hair. Long brown curls. Tessa. And then I love that he said that we haven't met Tessa yet in this series, but he says that in a world where everything went away from him eventually, she was one of the few remaining constants. I love like that part because we know it's Tessa, but if we didn't read Clockwork Angel, we wouldn't have known who that was. And I think it's so
Yes,
cute.
this
So,
are like
and this also tells us that Tessa's coming. Like Tessa's gonna be there. Like it tells us that. So like, I love it.
me too.
And then I have one
Pretty
more
cool.
quote. Yeah, I hope I didn't take everything that you wanted to say.
No, it's okay.
So this one is also Magnus and Camille. He did not love her, but she was a dream out of the past, so he moved toward her until he was standing close enough to touch her. Remember, she said softly, remember London, the parties at De Quincey's. Remember Will Herondale. I know you do. That boy of yours, that Lightwood, they even look alike. So parties at De Quincey's, we wouldn't have known what parties at De Quincey's if we didn't read Clockwork Angel. We wouldn't have known Will Herondale. And even in our last live show, I commented on how similar Will and Alec look, and here they say it. So it wasn't just me who thought that. Yeah, that was it.
Cool. I like that you mentioned all of those. I also just like have a couple things to add. So more like the writing side of things rather than the characters, I guess. So again, I mentioned the point of views before, and like I did remember in Clockwork Angel as well, we get point of view of Tessa and then all the boys. We never really get like Charlotte's point of view that much. I think only once a little bit, but Henry was also there. But not that much with Jessamine or Sophie at the moment. I don't know if in future they do, but and then again in Fallen Angels, it was just Clary or Simon or Jace. Not even really Alec, not Isabel. So I don't know why she does that, but yeah. And yes, I also said
It's
like the
interesting.
references to things. Yeah.
I was just going to say it's interesting because I didn't notice that at all. So
yeah. It's because I always have to think like, okay, like whose head am I supposed to be in now if they don't make it like super clear? Because I'll sometimes be like, oh, Clary, you were just there, and then you're like, no, okay, switch POV, kind of.
Yeah. Oh, I don't struggle with that. I'm just immediately in whoever's head.
Oh, and then also like about Camille, like when she was talking to Alec in this one and trying to convince him to let her go, I was like, this girl's an escape artist. We already know like she's a runner, so if you let her go, she's gonna disappear. And then she did, so which we wouldn't really have known before. And then I think we mentioned this in our previous live show, but also just like how the boys are really similar, and we saw it a bit more in this one with Simon and him struggling with the blood and like wanting to drink blood, and like it's an addiction similar to Jem's addiction, which they don't really go into his that much, but they're going into Simon's in this one, which I found really interesting. And I don't even remember if they said before that they were both musicians, but they are.
That's true. I just suddenly remembered something that I want to say quickly. In this book, it actually, when it must be Magnus, it can only be Magnus who because he was talking about how Alec and Will look the same, but then Magnus had the thought that Will was more like Jace in personality, like that actually was in the book. So he even mentioned that, and we commented on that last time, and this time it was Magnus who actually said that.
Yes. Yeah, and like he's still being that like tortured soul and like sabotaging his relationship, and we see it more in this one because in the previous trilogy there was like the outside reason of them thinking that they're brother and sister, but now he's like self-sabotaging like constantly and hating himself and withdrawing and hurting her, which is pretty much the same dynamic that Will and Tessa had as well. And but at the end of it all, like they all still fight to protect them, and like that was the whole purpose of the end of City of Fallen Angels, was that she brought Clary there to the like final events because both the boys that she needed loved Clary, so she used her as like a bargaining chip. And
That's
yeah,
true.
that's all that I really had to say about that question.
Yes, there was just one more thing that's kind of stupid, but I guess I'll just say it. Clockwork Angel, City of Fallen Angels.
Yeah.
We have the same word in the title, and like, what are the chances?
Yeah. I feel like also in one of the like Mortal Instruments books we actually see the Clockwork Angel again sometimes. I think it might be in the next one. I could be wrong, but I feel like we
No, we
see it.
see in Mortal Instruments.
Yeah, I feel like we see it like in the institute, like in the library or something. I feel like we see it somewhere there. Like for some reason, I feel like it's in the Mortal Instruments. I could be wrong, but I remember last time seeing it and I was like, wait, what? Okay.
I don't remember that, so we'll see.
If it actually happens, I could have made it up, but I feel like Clary sees it or something. I don't know. Okay. Then our next question was, what do you think about Maureen becoming a vampire?
I put that in there because I hate that Maureen became a vampire. Like, I strongly dislike that is part of the story. I think it's so stupid. I think it was so unnecessary. This little 14-year-old becoming this like rogue vampire. I don't know. I just didn't like it. It made me feel weird, and I don't know. I thought it was really unnecessary. And I know she's like becomes a big part of the story, but I just didn't like it.
It's kind of random, but I I kind of think it was more of her trying to make Simon a bigger part of the story by giving him like something extra to agonize over and feel guilty about. So like adding that like depth, and I guess she's so young because I don't know, she had to be like really innocent or something, and then like there's the huge contrast to how she becomes, and then Simon having to deal with it. But yeah, I don't really know what it adds to the overall plot, but I guess that's why
Exactly.
she did it.
Maybe we'll find out later. Maybe it like does add something, but for me right now, it didn't add anything. They could have gotten anyone to get Simon to go to that building. Like, it didn't have to be Maureen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess there was also like a way to introduce the fact that there's somebody else doing something, and it's not Raphael and it wasn't Camille, so it had to be somebody else. And like the connection between Lilith being there wasn't that solid. Like I know she gave Simon her card or whatever, but I didn't like distinctly remember that happening until it was brought up later that that's where she came from. And then it made sense that like, okay, her little minions was like the people who were going after Simon. So
And I guess now that I think about it, it makes sense that she was like at that same gig where Maureen was, and it was the night that Maureen was bitten by Simon, and she was there.
yeah.
So I guess it makes sense what you say.
Together. Yeah, I don't feel like she
Mm.
adds unnecessary things. So like everything that she does have there is there for a reason. Like I don't think she's ever had anything in her book that was just like, oh, okay, we're never going to see this again. You know?
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but like she also does it in a way where it's not necessarily that everyone else will get it because she's thinking like 2 books ahead. So,
Mm.
yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Then number 3, who has your favorite non-romantic relationship or friendship in this book?
Yeah. Mine. I feel like I'm answering all the questions first. Mine has to be Simon and Jace. I don't know why. I really love them in this book together, like being all friends, and then Jace like saying he needed to protect Simon, but actually he just was avoiding Clary. But then in the meantime, they like formed this friendship, and then Jace also like became friends with Jordan, and I just like that whole dynamic. Like I thought it was like such a fun part of the book.
Yeah, I had that exact same thing as well. Simon, Jason, Jordan, and then even that part where they were like wearing each other's clothes and stuff. It was just like
Where
I don't know. It
Jace
was
and
great. It was
Jordan looked
like
exactly the same.
yes,
Yeah.
it was so funny, and like they have really good banter all together. All 3 of them. Like I feel like they all get on really well. And it's nice seeing them like not being rivals anymore because that's what they were before. And you would think that Simon and Jordan might also feel like they need to be rivals because of Maya, but then they don't. And it kind of helps Simon figure out that he actually likes Isabel, and
Mm-hmm.
he'll be like happy for Maya, like whatever she decides to do. So
Yeah. That's why I feel like it adds like a fun element to the book, like something not as heavy, you know,
yes,
like an
yeah,
optimistic thing. And then even though they go through
yes,
heavy things together, but they form this like little band who like all look after each other.
yes,
And then Simon like asks Jace if he's eating and buys him a can of soup. And then
yeah.
Jordan lending his clothes and I don't know, and then them going after Simon at the end, and yeah, I just really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and like also when you think about it, all of them have gone through a lot of trauma. So them being able to like want to help each other out and like have fun moments with each other is like really uplifting.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's really cute. Um, what do you think of human Simon compared to vampire Simon?
Do you want to go first? Because I've been going first.
Okay. Um, I said I don't really feel like they're too different, but I also don't know if I feel that way because we weren't in Simon's head that much when he was a human. We only really started seeing things from his point of view when he became a vampire. So it's hard for me to know like who he was on the inside because we didn't get to see that much.
That's true.
But it does look like his self confidence is growing a lot and he's becoming more himself, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
What did you think?
Like same. And it's so like strange that he became a vampire, obviously, something completely different, but then in the process kind of just found himself. Like it's like kind of weird, like he had to become literally a different species to like find himself, you know,
Yeah.
and get that confidence and like I don't know, interesting. And also I just
Yeah.
like also feel really sorry for him because his mom kicked him out and yeah, but I guess going through stuff like that is also what is forming his personality.
Yeah. He like had quite a huge journey. So it was really interesting seeing that. And there was also like a few moments where Simon has memories of their childhood that I really appreciate having, because I don't really feel like Clary does that very often. She's just obsessed with like what's happening right now, whereas Simon gets a bit more nostalgic about things, which is nice. Like there was that one moment where he was outside the library or something, and then he remembered that went in and got the books and they could read in the botanical gardens, and how he was also a father figure to him. And like it shows that he's thinking about the past and the future a lot. Whereas Clary is more like a typical teenager and being in the moment constantly and just worrying about like, oh, why does Jace not want to hang out with me right now? Is my hair ugly? Like, you know, she's having those types of thoughts. And where Simon is being slightly more existential.
Yeah. Also, another moment that Simon had was when he recalled when they asked Jocelyn if they could walk to school, and then Clary asked Jocelyn if she could walk to school, and she was like, yes, as long as Simon goes with you. And then he like had the memories of holding Clary's hand while they walked to school and being her protector, and that was quite cute. I guess he felt like her protector then, and maybe now he feels like he is not her protector anymore, or maybe he feels like he still is. I'm not quite sure where his head is at with that, but yeah, because she has become like a shadow hunter, obviously, and she has Jace and Isabel and everyone looking out for her, and he's like not her only little protector anymore.
Yes. Oh, that reminded me of that moment when I think it was Jordan that asked about Clary and if she has a boyfriend, and then Simon was like, trust me, she has like the nuclear bomb of boyfriends. Like she really, 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 really has a boyfriend. It was just too funny.
That was funny.
Okay, last question. Do you think that Maya should forgive Jordan? And I don't know if I was spending too much time around teenagers lately, but I just said I kind of feel like what we think doesn't really matter because she is a teenager and she's going to do what she wants to do regardless. So
okay.
But like either one would have been valid, because like she has the right to be angry at him for what he did, but also she has the perspective of like knowing how he feels, and then if she does want to forgive him, that would be still like a valid choice. And you know, it's up to any person to decide like what they're willing to put up with from other people and what they decide is like acceptable. And yeah, probably not how I should have answered that question, but yeah, what did you say?
I mean, for me, it's like an obvious yes, because Jordan obviously like regrets what he did so badly, and he like feels so deeply about what he did, and he feels so much for Maya, and like you can see Maya is just like his whole world, you know, like he only sees Maya. And for that reason alone, and the fact that he obviously couldn't control what he did, and I also like them together, so like the personal opinion, but because like after she found out like how he feels, like I think yes, and it's like Maya is the sun orbiting Jordan's world, you know.
That's fair. I get that. I do like him as well as a character. I think I thought too deeply about it because, you know, at the end of the day, nobody tries to be a bad person. Like nobody goes out of their way to do bad things, and they all feel like they're in the right. And then we got to know like that side of him, but before we also got to know Maya's side of the story, and she was like really, really upset about it, and her reaction when she saw him for the first time showed that. So I think she also did it in that way on purpose so that we would have that mindset of like, he's not a bad guy. But if we never got his perspective, we would have had a completely different opinion and been like, what are you doing? So
yeah, but like you said, no one goes out of their way to be a bad person, but Jordan's going out of his way to be an like extra good person. Like he's trying to make up for what he did by being like extra good and helping other people and helping Simon, and you know.
yeah, he's a good guy. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention before we wrap up? I just wanted to see if I had any badly taken pictures of quotes. Oh, I think I just took some pictures of like at the beginning, I think in chapter 1 where Izzy and Simon are in the restaurant and they're talking about like the Count Peninsula and stuff, and you know, just like the random references that they throw in every now and then the shadow hunters are just like, I have no idea what you're saying. Especially to Simon, those are always funny. And Jace has that thing where he's always something like, you're saying like English words, but none of it makes sense, and it's fascinating to me.
That was funny. And then wasn't there one time where Jace was like, I'm so glad I don't understand anything you're saying.
Yes. Just yeah, it's just a fun dynamic overall, and I enjoyed reading this book.
That's good.
Ooh. But I also, one more thing, the Seelie Queen popped up. She was there, and she gave the little bell to Clary. So this is just kind of reinforcing that she's going to show up again, even though the fairies weren't in this book that much.
Well,
So
Kaylee gave the bell.
Yeah.
The queen didn't
She's
give
a
the bell.
messenger.
Kaylee gave the bell.
From the Seelie Queen. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool.
Okay. Is there anything you wanted to add, or we good?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think I said everything.
Okay, that was a good discussion. And thank you for joining and participating. We hope you are having a great time reading the books and enjoying the world of Shadowhunters as much as we are, and in publication order. Just, yeah.
Be sure to join us next month for Clockwork Prince, which we are reading next month. Clockwork Prince, the second one in Infernal Devices. We're trying to remember all these series. And if you're not following us yet, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads at the Parabatai BC. And join in our discussions on Goodreads. And yes, thank you so much for joining us and for following us if you do.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Bye.